May I help you?
I'm here for the reading of the will.
Please, come in.
Thank you.
This project was initiated by the actors. They approached me to do something together in an effort to take control of their own careers. They all took the same workshop in Los Angeles, and they were tired of waiting for people to cast them in their own movies. So they decided to take matters in their own hands. They wanted to make their own film to showcase their talents and what they could do. The prospect of working with actors from the beginning of the project was very interesting to me, to get their input into the storyline and into the creation of the story from the very beginning, instead of just having them come in later as production starts.
That first night when we got there, we all sat around in the living room, which was actually part of the set, and we just talked about what we wanted. And you know, none of us really knew what the end product was going to be. We didn't know what the story was even, really. We knew a little bit about our characters and how they were going to develop.
It was difficult to create a script together. So what we came up with was, I would provide a story outline, and then the characters would improvise the scenes and the dialogue themselves. For the frame of the story, we needed something that would encourage the characters to improvise and challenge each other. So I came up with this idea, a dying billionaire who has come to great wealth through exploiting people. And now that he's dying, he wants to prove that his way of life was justified. So he invites these 5 people to his mansion in the desert, and he gives them this once-in-a-lifetime offer.
Before the rising of the morning sun, one of you should be dead. That's right. You will decide who. And why? Because this is how you will earn your money.
Going into a scene without knowing exactly what the scene was about caused us to really dig deep into who our characters were, and then to respond out of our characters' motivation.
To be quite honest with you, about the first 15 minutes, I was just thinking, what did I get myself into?
I would workshop characters with each one of the actors individually from each other, so they would not know about each other's characters. I would ask them questions about their own individual personality and their background and their flaws, and then embellish on that to create a character that is somewhat based on their own personality, but enhanced and different.
It was fresh every day. It was every day you were getting together, you were finding out, I'm doing this scene with this person, we need to get from here to there, we need to tell this story for this day, and here's what you're working with.
The director knew where he wanted the film to go. We didn't know. We had no idea.
They all got a backstory, they all got a dark secret they could hide from each other, and then during the film itself it got to be fun and kind of challenging to figure out for all the characters what their secrets were and their personalities.
You would be willing to watch another man die after everything you've been through?
I have nothing else to lose.
We started shooting the project all in sequence, so the actors could, along with their characters, find out what the story was all about. Quite quickly they got into the whole process and really started enjoying it. You know, once they figured out they could put in so much of their own experience into these characters and create and mold the characters to their own liking, it was a whole new dimension to their experience too.
It's a joke. It's just a sick and twisted and demonic joke.
Well, not everything he said is true, so it's obviously a joke.
Wait, where are you going?
I'm leaving. This place is dangerous. I mean, he is talking about death.
Well, you can't just leave. Look, maybe some of us actually need this money.
I don't know you.
Well, maybe that's the point. Look, can't you just give us the time to figure it out?
There are many challenges of, you know, having 12 people living in one house for 2 weeks as they work together. And as tensions kind of mounted in the house, the tensions mounted in the story too.
You know, you eat breakfast enough with the same people, and you're kept in close quarters with the same people enough, you know, some arguments are going to come up. And yeah, there were definitely some issues that had to be resolved a couple times over. There were definitely, yeah, there were times when kind of looked like some people might be going home.
Later I talked with one of the guys that worked on the project, and he said, I didn't know if this was actually going to be finished. It got so intense.
There was this very emotional, intense scene where really everything comes to a boil. And when we were shooting the scene, it was about midnight, the final night of our 2 weeks, and everybody was just done with it. I mean, emotions were running high, and here was the scene where we had to literally yell at each other. And while we were shooting it, I felt the energy in the room, and it was scary. I mean, the emotions were real, and the actors were yelling at each other, not just as characters, but as actors too.
Leaving here tomorrow morning without that money. And you drinking your part, why don't you just go to hell?
We don't have to do anything.
You shut up, leave him alone.
To do it.
Just let him. You say you. You tell me way. Or why should you get up?
You won't want this money.
This project was very different from the way films are usually shot. Here we went into it, you know, improvising all along, and it was something that was very helpful to me. I learned to improvise, I learned to work from my gut on the moment, always, you know, coming up with new ideas, coming up with new solutions, and the same for the actors too.
Because it was improvised, it just makes your reaction to what a character says that much more genuine, your gut reaction. It's an amazing tool for actors.
I think that's one of the reasons why people start acting anyway, because that's what you want, are those new experiences. So yeah, I would totally do it again.
We all learned something from this project. We learned to think very creatively and spontaneously, and work with the means that we have at hand. I think that'll be something, a lesson we've all taken from this project.